We're going live now. I had to update my stuff,
Goodbye.
my software earlier. I was checking it out and it worked earlier, but I guess it changed the custom key over here with the change. Here we go.
Yep.
We're going live now. I had to update my stuff, my software earlier. I was checking it out and it worked earlier, but I guess it changed the custom key over here with the change. Here we go.
Yep.
All right. We're going live now. I had to update my stuff. I'm gonna mute now. Hold on. Earlier, I was checking it out.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to wait a few more minutes just to make sure that everyone who is participating in today's Superintendent Town Hall meeting has an opportunity to hear the presentation from beginning to end. So we will get started in approximately 3 minutes. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric J. Rosser. I'm the superintendent of the Poughkeepsie City School District. This is the second of 3 town hall meetings that we will be having for our school and our community to be able to learn about what the reopening plans are for the Poughkeepsie City School District. There will be an additional town hall meeting that will be held exclusively for our teachers, and that will be this upcoming Monday. And teachers will receive an invite in their emails to be able to participate in that town hall meeting. So once again, I want to thank everyone for being a part of today's town hall meeting. As I indicated, there has been a number of different things that have been happening as a part of our reopening of the Poughkeepsie City School District. We had a town hall meeting this past Monday at 4:30. We had over 240 participants. This will be the second of 3 town hall meetings that we will have for our community. The town hall meeting that is slated for August 17th at 12:30 will be slated for Spanish-speaking families. We will have translators available. We will have the PowerPoint will be in Spanish so that our Spanish-speaking families will be able to follow easily along with the presentation. And as I mentioned, there will be a town hall meeting for our staff members, our teachers, that will be on August 17th at 9:30. Our teachers will be receiving the invite via their email address. Today's town hall will address 7 areas. I will be sharing the reopening guidelines with our community. I will share with you the purpose of the town halls. I will share with you the guiding principles for the reopening plan. You will have an opportunity to see what members represent the task force for the reopening. I will share with you to date stakeholder survey results. We will discuss plan updates and next steps, and then I will open up the opportunity for people to ask questions and for me to provide responses to those questions. The reopening guidelines represent what the Department of Health, as well as the Department of Education, has provided school districts to focus on. Our reopening plan will address many more than just these 7. However, these 7 are the major ones in which we are focusing on. Of course, in the reopening, we are very much interested in providing children pre-K through 12th grade with an instructional model that best fits their needs, as well as best fits the conditions by which we are looking to reopen school. Of course, with each of the models, we would be looking at providing technology so that students will be able to have integrated technology within the instructional model. Of course, understanding that COVID-19 is very scary for all of us, is presented many challenges, not only in our community, but has presented many challenges for many individuals within our school family. And we want to be mindful that when it comes to our reopening, that we are also being cognizant of the health and safety of our children as well as our staff members. Understanding that in our community, child nutrition is extremely important. Our plan will also, regardless of the delivery model, will incorporate opportunities for us to be able to provide our children with nutritious meals. Understanding that COVID-19 has created a lot of anxiety and has created a lot of challenges socially, emotionally, we will also be addressing how we're going to support the social emotional well-being of our students as well as our staff members. Understanding that many students may disconnect from the schooling process, we also will have in our plans an outline of how we're going to address the non-attendance of students during this upcoming academic year. Communication is key to everything that we do together on behalf of our children. So our plan will also have information on how the district plans to communicate with not only its families, but also with its staff. We will also engage family and the community in this work, because understanding that it takes an entire community to meet the evolving and the varying needs of our children, involving the family as well as the community and addressing the needs of the whole child is going to be extremely important during this COVID-19 pandemic era. We will also be discussing in our plans how we will address transportation. While many of our students walk to school, we do have a considerable number of students who are transported to school. And there are certain guidelines set forth by the Department of Health as well as the Department of Education that mandate school districts to ensure that the health and safety of our students, as well as those who are driving or monitoring student activity on the bus, is protected. We will also be addressing issues related to our facilities. There has been a long-standing understanding of our school district's facilities being very old, and we have a plan that we are currently implementing to address our facilities and the mechanics that are associated with those facilities. Each of these areas are addressed in detail in our plan that is uploaded to our website. So for those of you who are interested in reading the details of our plan has been uploaded to our website and is continuously being updated based upon the most current data that we're receiving, based upon the most current science that is being shared with us. And our intent with the reopening of schools is to make sure that we're able to provide our students with a quality instructional experience while still protecting the health and safety of our students, as well as those individuals who provide the instruction to our students. The purpose of our town hall meeting is multi-pronged. We want to continue with the tradition of engaging school and community stakeholders. As superintendent, I have always indicated that it is going to be extremely important that we engage our school and community stakeholders, particularly around very big decisions that need to be made on behalf of our children. By doing so, we will always be able to make sure that we're leveraging thought partnership in this work, that we're also leveraging the ability for individuals in our school as well as our community to provide additional supports and for us to be able to leverage the assets that exist within our school as well as our community. The town hall meeting also provides a platform for the school and community stakeholders to hear the plans, as well as stakeholders to be able to voice their perspectives to help inform what we will do collectively to address the academic, the social, the emotional, and wellness needs of our students. Last Friday, Governor Cuomo indicated that the determination of how individual school districts reopen will be made by local school districts under a strict Department of Health guideline. We are working very hard to make sure that we are receiving information from our school and community stakeholders that will continue to help inform how we will open schools up. We will also be looking for our school and community stakeholders to be a part of the work in opening our schools up through thought partnerships, with sharing recommendations, ideas, best practices. So we are very much open to hearing from our school and community stakeholders as it relates to the opening of our schools. And then lastly, the town hall meeting is structured so that I can provide information, but also our school and community stakeholders can ask questions to seek clarity from district staff. And we have a couple of district staff members who are with us today who may be providing some additional thoughts and answers to questions that our school and community stakeholders may have. I will share with you that the work of the task force has been guided by 4 principles. The first 2 principles have primarily served as our guiding posts for the development of our plan. Of course, as an educational institution, it is our responsibility to deliver a high quality instructional experience to our students, regardless of the delivery model. It is important that while we do so, that we are also ensuring the safety and wellness of our students, as well as all of our employees. That's very important. We will also be working with our parents to ensure that their children's academic, social, emotional, and wellness needs are met. Understanding that parents are children's first teachers, it is very important that we leverage our parents' support and partnership so that we can work jointly to address the needs of our children. And then lastly, we want to optimize the use of school and community resources to support our students. As you can see, based upon the slide in front of you, that we have a very extensive task force of approximately 65 individuals. And each of these 65 individuals are assigned to task force subcommittees. And these subcommittees address the areas that are outlined in our plan. P through 12 instructional, technology, health and safety, child nutrition, social emotional well-being and attendance, human resources and staffing, transportation, family and community engagement, as well as communications, and then also facilities. So as I mentioned, our work around the reopening of the Poughkeepsie City School District has primarily focused on making sure that our stakeholders have a voice and that we are listening to what our stakeholders are sharing with us as it relates to the reopening of schools. To date, and this is as of this morning, we have 1,460 parent surveys that have been completed. We have 375 staff surveys that have been completed. And we also sent out a third survey, second to our parents, of 1,049 responses to technology needs that our families may have. In looking at the data, we asked parents a number of different questions. One question we asked parents was, what would be your preference in the instructional delivery model for this upcoming school year, particularly the start of September? 20% indicated that they would like a full return to school. Approximately 58% indicated that they would prefer a distance learning model starting out in September. And then 37% indicated that they would love a hybrid model starting out in September. We posed the question, if in-person is the instructional delivery model for September, what would be the likelihood for parents to send their children to school? Roughly 23% indicated that they would likely return their children to school. Roughly 43% indicated that they would be unlikely to return their children to school. And then there is approximately 35% who are still undecided as to whether or not they will return their children to school if the in-person model was the instructional delivery model. When we asked our staff members what would be their preference by rank for the instructional delivery model, our staff preferred, as number one, a completely virtual instructional delivery model. Coming in second was a hybrid, 2 days a week, 3 days virtual. Third was a hybrid, 1 week in person, 1 week virtual. Fourth was having our elementary students in all 5 days and our middle and high school students participating in instruction virtually. And then last was 5 days in person, with options for parents, meaning that parents would have options to either send their children to school or to provide distance learning or virtual learning to our students. When we asked our staff member what would be the instructional model by preference, 5% indicated that they would prefer in-person teaching and work. 56% indicated that they would prefer in-person teaching and work if safety measures are in place. And then we had 39% who indicated that the percentage would be that they would prefer virtual options. And as you understand and you look at this data, please keep in mind that this data is changing on a day-by-day basis, because each day we're getting more and more people to complete the survey. It is very important that the survey is completed by all of our families as well as all of our staff members, because as we're looking to reopen schools, our decisions will be based upon the data. Our decisions will be based upon the science, and our decisions will be based upon what is in the best interest of students, as well as what is in the best interest of our staff members in protecting their safety and their welfare. The questions that we ask parents as it relates to technology needs is, does your household have access to a device that can be used online? Does your household have access to reliable internet service that can be used for online instruction? Does your household have access to Wi-Fi services for online instruction? We also provided an opportunity in the technological survey need where we asked parents to share with us what additional supports or workshops can we provide them to support their children in the event that our instructional delivery model will be online for the 2021 school year. And that would be starting online or at some point in time transitioning online due to a COVID outbreak. I want to share with you some of the highlights related to our planning. Task force committees will continue to meet as long as necessary to strengthen our impact on delivering against the guiding principles and mandates. And if I can remind you of the guiding principles, the first guiding principle is that all students will receive high quality instructional delivery, no matter what the instructional model, that we will do so while protecting the health and welfare of our students as well as our staff members. We will be partnering with parents to address the academic, social-emotional needs of their children, and we will be leveraging our school and community resources to be able to do so. Our plans, regardless of the instructional delivery model, will adhere to the New York State Department of Education as well as the New York State Department of Health mandates that are also contained as links in our plan that is online. As I stated, students will be provided with quality instruction no matter the instructional delivery model. And one of the things that we have already made a determination on is that we don't have the capacity as the Poughkeepsie City School District to be able to open our school in September with 100% of our students returning for in-person instruction. And this is the case for many reasons. The main reason is that our school footprints will not allow us to be able to adhere to the New York State Department of Education, as well as the New York State Department of Education, or Department of Health, excuse me, in making sure that we can social distance and provide students with 6 feet of separation from their peers in many of our classrooms. And this is particularly true at our elementary schools. So therefore, we will not be able to open our school in September with 100% of our students returning in person. There has been a lot of conversations that have happened and are continuing to take place at the national level regarding whether or not it's safe for students to be returning to schools in large numbers, even with hybrid models. And as I stated earlier, approximately 58% of our families indicate that they would like for the Poughkeepsie City School District to deliver instruction remotely in September. In addition, 43% of our parents are unlikely to send their children to school if in-person is the instructional delivery model. As a result of this data today, there is a strong likelihood that the Poughkeepsie City School District will be opening up in a distance learning environment, meaning that instruction, as it was this past spring, will be delivered using devices that the district either loans to students or the household has within their own possession. As stated, when it comes to our students with exceptionalities, we want to make sure that we're providing them with the supports that they need in order to comply with their IEPs as well as their 504 plans. So regardless of the delivery model, those students will have targeted supports. We also are going to have in place proper PPEs for our students as well as our staff members. We will have a strong social, emotional, and well-being component for all students. Student nutritional needs will be met no matter the instructional delivery model. Parents and community will be engaged and empowered throughout the pandemic because we understand that it's very important that we are working concertedly to address the needs of our children as parent, school, community. And our facilities will be maintained using CDC, Department of Health, as well as New York State Department of Education guidance. Anyone who is external to our Poughkeepsie City School family, we will be providing them training as well as information on what our district protocols will be if they are to enter our school buildings. Our goal is to protect our children as well as our staff members from any sort of COVID-19 infection. Some of the challenges that we've uncovered as it relates to the reopening of schools has been really navigating the unknown of the COVID-19 impact on the school community as well as our community. As mentioned, our goal is to protect our children as well as our staff members while we provide high quality instruction to our students. And that goal just doesn't stop with our students and our staff members. Understanding that students who would be coming to school and also returning back home, that we want to make sure that whatever decisions we make, that we're making decisions for when students return home, that those family members can also be protected as well. There are a lot of unfunded mandates associated with the opening of school, and we are working tirelessly to advocate for additional funding to support the reopening of our schools. I implore all of you to reach out to your elected officials at the federal level and to request of them to continue to have conversations about funding school districts such as Poughkeepsie and providing additional funding so that we can properly and adequately open up schools so that everyone is safe. There's a lot of complexities to the mandates as well. One of the complexities is making sure that students who will be receiving nutritional breakfasts as well as lunches, that we provide them with 6 feet of distancing between their peers while they are eating. Given our unique footprint, we will not be able to do that in a 100% in-person environment. And we also have challenges with being able to do that in a hybrid model as well. We're addressing those logistics as well as other logistics with reopening school every day. I am meeting with executive leadership on a daily basis. I'm having conversations with other staff members frequently so that as we're talking about the logistics of reopening school, that it's well informed and that we are taking the perspectives, hearing the voices of all who will be a part of the education of our children for the 2021 school year. The time required to implement a hybrid plan in order to adhere to the New York State as well as the Department of Health's mandates is also a challenge for us. Understanding that there is a lot of complexities to the reopening of school. In looking at when schools are to start, which is September 10th, we recognize that we need time to make sure that we do this correctly. Unfortunately, a lot of school districts, particularly in the southern states, who have already started school, they started school without making the necessary time to do it correctly. And now many of those school districts are closing because they have COVID-19 outbreaks. That's the last thing that we want to have occur within the Poughkeepsie City School District. We want to make sure that our children, our staff members, as well as their families have peace of mind when it comes to the instruction of children. We do not want to create a situation where we may have to close a school due to an outbreak, and then for 14 days, while people are in self-quarantine, that we have children having social and emotional issues, wondering whether or not they have contracted COVID-19. We don't want their families to be concerned, nor do we want our very valuable staff members to be concerned as well, or their families, or our staff members' children to be concerned. So we are taking a stance that a hybrid model may not be the best thing for us to do at this point in time. We need to make sure that we are putting forth the time necessary to address the complexities of the mandates, to make sure that we are putting things in place so that our staff and our students are safe. There are also issues with social distancing on our yellow school buses. The mandates indicate that we have to provide transportation to our students who are warranted. Currently, we transport just about all of our students to our ELC for pre-K and kindergarten. Each of those students normally ride the school bus and they're normally seated 2 in a seat. The mandates require that we can only place one child per seat now, not unless the child is sitting with a sibling. Understanding the complexities associated with that, it is going to be impossible for us at this juncture to be able to provide that service with the funding that we currently have. In every school district, transportation is a large cost associated with the functioning of schools. With our board-approved budget and the budget that our community overwhelmingly supported, we do not have extra funding associated with transportation to be able to have additional school buses run to be able to transport all of our students at the same time. So we would need to be engaging in several different runs, which means that students would be coming to school at different times based upon the delivery of those students on school buses. There's a lot of facilities work that is currently underway. We are cleaning our schools. We are doing deep cleaning that we normally do during the summer months by removing desks and other furniture out of classrooms. We're also doing a lot of ventilation work right now to make sure that our ventilation systems are running and meeting the specifications of our New York State Department of Education, as well as Department of Health. We also are challenged with connecting students with meaningful activity outside of the school environment as a supplement for positive youth development. We are working with a number of community partners, such as the Family Services. We're also working with Vassar College, as well as a number of other community-based organizations to develop meaningful youth development activity for students outside of the school environment. For us, this is very important because students do develop and receive a lot of instruction and opportunity within a school district. However, a student's time is normally more outside of the school environment. So we want to make sure that we continue to work very closely with community partners in developing meaningful activity outside of the school environment. Using distance learning as a model, it is important that every student is provided with a device at the start of the school year. And we are working on that. We, in the springtime, made application for a grant to provide us with the ability to purchase additional devices. And we were awarded $1.6 million to be able to do so. However, given COVID-19 as a pandemic that is impacting our school districts across the country, there is an issue of supply and demand at this juncture. And additional devices that we have already placed an order for will not be delivered until October. We also want to make sure that when it comes to working with our parents, that we're also being mindful of the flexibility of their employment hours. And this serves as a challenge for us because we don't want our parents who are providing for their children to not be able to work because their children are at home. We want to make sure that we are working in partnership with parents as well as other entities so that there is opportunity still for parents to be able to work the employment hours that they typically do when school is in session, and that the children are still receiving quality instruction. And we have a lot of employees who are not a part of the instructional team that we also want to make sure that we are developing strategy so that we can keep them gainfully employed. There are a number of employees who are more operational, and if we don't have school or students in our schools, then some of the work of those employees would be non-existent. So we will be working with union leadership to discuss ways in which we can repurpose employees who may have responsibilities that currently don't involve distance learning. Well, I shared with you some of the challenges. I also want to share with you some of the activity that we've been engaged in and continue to be engaged in. We are always thinking about the issues of educational equity for our students and our families. We want to make sure that our children are receiving the type of education that not only will benefit them today, but will be a benefit to them in the future. So our focus has always been on making sure that we're delivering quality instruction so that our children can benefit from the learning that they're receiving today, and not only apply that learning to the things that they need to do as a part of the educational process, but be able to also use that valuable learning to be able to be successful in any endeavor that they choose after they graduate from our high school. As I mentioned, we've secured $1.6 million to purchase and upgrade our technologies, and that we've ordered those additional devices to close the digital gap for our family. That would be Chromebooks as well as hotspots. We're in the process of hiring a certified nurse for every school building. In fact, there were interviews that took place today for 2 vacancies that we currently have in the district. We're awaiting additional delivery of our PPEs for students and our staff members. We've ordered cleaning equipment that will increase the effectiveness of school-wide cleaning and increase the efficiency by which our custodial staff are able to clean entire school buildings. We have assessed our building ventilation and are progressively working to increase the functionality of the system's airflow and quality. We're in the process of increasing the number of custodial workers district-wide. We're also in the process of posting school case working positions. And these individuals will be responsible for re-engaging students who may not be participating in the schooling process. And they will come on board and serve as an additional layer of support after the school has exhausted all of its efforts with getting the student to return to school. For our parents, we are hiring 3 district family advocates to serve as critical connectors to our families. We're very mindful that we have a large Spanish-speaking population, so we are looking for individuals who speak Spanish. And of course, we are looking for individuals who speak English. If we can find 3 individuals who are bilingual, that would be perfect. We are working with the reopening task force to develop a plan and a strategy to enhance our delivery of instruction, support, and services to our Poughkeepsie City School District and our parents. And that's outlined and will be further outlined as we continue to develop our plan, which is posted online. In this afternoon, I have the opportunity of meeting with Dutchess County Department of Health to coordinate contact tracing and COVID testing for all staff and students. And we received the guidance that we needed. I'm in the process now of updating our plan to include what that process for contact tracing and COVID testing will be for staff and students. I want to transition into next steps. So there's been a plethora of activity that's taken place since the Department of Health, as well as the New York State Department of Education, released its guidance on the reopening of school. We've held meetings among the superintendents of Dutchess County to discuss some of our unique challenges so that we can develop strategy through thought partnership to address those issues and concerns that pertain to all school districts across the region. We've also had multiple meetings with the Department of Health to discuss aspects of safety and health related to our staff and our students. We convened the task force that I shared with you earlier, and those subcommittees have worked tirelessly to continue to improve upon the plans that we have posted to our website. There's been a lot of activity during the month of August. I presented a draft of our reopening plan to our board on August 5th. The task force met on August 6th to discuss our instructional model. Governor Cuomo last Friday, as I indicated that the reopening of schools will be a local decision and that we must, as superintendents, have 3 meetings with our community and our parents and 1 meeting with our teachers before we announce what our official reopening instructional model will be. Our reopening plan has been published online. I'm holding town hall meetings, and the last set of town hall meetings will be this upcoming Monday. Between August 18th and the 21st, I will be officially announcing what the reopening instructional model will be. And then on August 21st, we also have the responsibility of posting what our distance learning plan will be, what our COVID-19 testing plan will be, as well as what our contact tracing plan will be, and that will need to be posted online. I will share with everyone that based upon the data, based upon the landscape, based upon the science, that we are positioning ourselves to reopen using a distance learning model, because this model currently is the safest for us to be able to provide instruction to our students, as well as keeping them safe, as well as our staff members safe. And unless the landscape changes dramatically, we will be sticking with that. And on between August 18th and the 21st, as I stated, we will be making an official announcement as to whether or not that will be the reopening instructional model that we will be using. I want to encourage all of our families that if you have not completed a survey, please make sure that you're completing the school reopening preference survey, which is located on our website, as well as the family technology needs survey that is on our website as well. I want to encourage all of our staff members to complete the survey as well. And if there are community partners or individuals who want to be a part of the solution to support the needs of our children, please reach out to Natasha Cherry, who is the interim executive director of community schools, and express interest. And she will then work to make sure that you are part of the team of individuals who are serving as champions for Poughkeepsie City School District students. If there are comments about the reopening plan that you would like to make outside of this forum, we have also established an email address for you to be able to post those comments. So at this juncture, I'm going to transition from me speaking to me listening and addressing questions. So Becky, if we can move into the questions. And what I'm going to do, just so that we're mindful of the time, I'm going to address questions. And if there's a similar question that I've already addressed, I'm not going to reiterate what I've stated, because what I've learned in the first town hall is that there were questions that were they were the same questions that were being brought up each time. And I was responding to each of those questions, which really made the town hall meeting very long. And some of the comments that I received back from families is that, it would have been best if I had simply just responded to the question once and skipped questions that were the same questions. So Carolyn Rhodes said, is there an option for half the teachers and half the kids to go in and others do virtual? So that is what we would call a hybrid model, an option in the hybrid model. And some of the things that we've been discussing is that feasible at this point in time? And as I shared with you through the challenges, right now that is not feasible for us as a school district. There will be a point in time where we will need to transition students back into the school environment. And more than likely, it will happen through a hybrid model. So we are going to more than likely, and this is not the official announcement, but due to the challenges that we currently are facing and due to the landscape that currently is in place today, that there's a high likelihood that we will be opening up using remote learning. So Denise DeRadio asked a question about are schools going to be open? And I basically, have shared that more than likely we will be opening up into a distance learning environment. Let me just also answer, what is not being said in the question. Are schools going to be open? Schools are always going to be open. We have an opening date of September 10th currently. So regardless of the instructional delivery model, our students will be engaged the week of September 10th. The classrooms are too small to be able to have kids and teachers 6 feet apart. Agree with you. What do you propose for students to meet their new teachers at the beginning of the school year? That's something that the committees and I are discussing, trying to figure out the best way for new students to be able to meet existing teachers and new students to be able to meet new teachers. So we're discussing some of that right now. And by the time that we open school, we will have a plan of action that will be articulated to our school community. Shadow Assassin said, Clinton and PMS bathroom are horrible. Classrooms are too small to hold children and teachers for 6 feet apart. I would say that, one of the things that we've been doing throughout the summer is improving our facilities. As superintendent, one of the things I shared early on was that our schools have been neglected when it comes to the maintenance as well as the infrastructure. And we've been working very hard to sort of change that for our children as well as our staff members. Our students and our staff members deserve more. And we've been working very hard through the capital improvement project that we've announced, through work that we have had our custodial crew do, to reorganization where we have increased the amount of support as well as supervision to our custodial and facilities crew. And as I mentioned earlier, we're looking to hire additional custodial individuals to be able to support the cleanliness of our schools. So Corinne Cabrera questions, are teachers going to do live classes during distance learning? I hope so. That is something that we are currently working to address across the board. Many individuals are involved in those discussions, and we're looking to determine the best way to do that for our children, understanding that many of our children have challenges with being able to log on themselves. If we do live, then we need to figure out a way that, those students will be able to access the information or the live classes, at another point in time so that they don't miss an opportunity for instruction. And there's a number of different things that we still need to work through, but I can share with you that we are actively working on addressing that. How do you support the social development for students if they're not involved with face-to-face in-school instruction nor hybrid model instruction? So that is, we're looking at creative ways to do it. We are not the only school district across the country that is thinking about opening up or positioning itself and opening up as a distance learning environment or even a hybrid environment. And what we're doing is we're looking at best practices across the board. We have a group of phenomenal staff members, teachers, social workers, school counselors, crisis intervention specialists who have been all a part of the conversation about how can we do that by supporting students' social emotional development in either a hybrid model or in a distance learning model. So the question is, why can't you just give us an answer? Arlington, Wappingers, and many others already have. I believe I've already stated that we are positioning ourselves to open up in a online environment. The governor has clearly expressed that prior to us providing official word that we need to get the input of our school community, in which we are doing. I cannot speak to what Arlington and Wappingers and many others are doing, because in the Poughkeepsie City School District, we abide by the direction of our leaders here in this state. But as I stated, we are positioning ourselves to open up in a online environment. And in the event that the landscape shifts, we will then shift and make sure that we are opening up in a different environment, which would be a hybrid environment. If student and staff members test positive, would everyone in that class building be forced to get tested? So those are some of the conversations that we were having this afternoon with the Department of Health. And I will share with you that, those are very complex and detailed conversations that we're having. in the updated plan that will be provided to everyone on the web this evening. There will be, directions on how we're going to handle that very issue. So Shalisa West asks, will there be a certain time during the day if you choose online? I am a working mother who is not at home in the morning or early afternoon. My child will be in elementary school. So we're working on that right now. So, there may be opportunities for our children to be able to log in at different points in time. There may be online live sessions for our children that may be recorded. These are all the things that we're discussing right now, and we'll have an answer by the beginning of the school year. So Priscilla Gandia says, if it took all summer to disinfect schools, how will it be done on a daily basis? So let me correct or clarify what I stated. It didn't take us the entire summer to disinfect our schools. Our schools have been disinfected since we closed schools down in March. Understanding with any facility that if you leave something for a period of time, then dust settles, dirt comes in, because it's just a part of how buildings settle. So we've been cleaning all along. We started in March, we continue to clean and make sure that we're maintaining each of our instructional as well as our school building spaces. The cleaning that took place this summer was a deeper level of cleaning where we removed furniture from each of our classrooms. We waxed floors, we painted, we've done additional things, as I mentioned, to improve our school facilities. So Carolyn Rhodes' question, are we going to help family services to provide childcare for parents who are essential workers, frontline workers? Yes, we will continue to work with our partners to make sure that those who are frontline workers, who are essential workers, that they're provided with opportunities to participate in childcare. So Denise Diadro says, is it true that if we send our kids to school, that if they show the slightest symptoms, you will take our kids out of school and not letting the parents know where they are? No, that's not true at all. That is information that I'm not certain where that came from. It's the first time I'm hearing it. We will, in partnership with families, continue to work with them as we have always done. So in the event that a child is exhibiting symptoms related to COVID-19, we will be in communication with the parent, and we will then develop and have a plan of action that will then inform the parent as to where their children are in our school building in an isolated area. And then when the parent comes to pick up the child, we will then have, someone escort the child to the parent. Will we have the option to do online if we don't want to send our kids to school? So as I mentioned, we are in the process right now of positioning ourselves to provide online learning to all students. And unless something drastically happens differently with the landscape, and that would be based upon the data that we're receiving by way of our parents and our staff members, as well as the science and the latest developments that we are all learning about on a day-to-day basis coming from the CDC, as well as other national health officials. So Sandra Pimentel says, when we know who the teachers are and what supplies our kids need, building principals are working on that right now to provide information to their school families, which would be our parents and our students, of who the students' teachers will be and what supplies are needed. So Rose Farron says, will the high school for grade 12 have full teachers for the scholars? I'm not really understanding the question, so I'm going to take a stab at answering the question in this way. All of our students will have teachers. How those teachers are utilized, will be a different conversation. And what I mean by utilize, how those teachers will provide instruction will be a part of what our instructional model is. But every student will have a teacher. We understand that Chromebooks may not come until October. What do we expect school will look like before they arrive? So what we have done during the springtime, we provided every family with at least one device, and we are positioned to do that again for this upcoming year. We have already secured additional Chromebooks from after school year ended. We originally had purchased 1,725 Chromebooks, and there are additional Chromebooks that we have to be able to issue to families. For those families who have multiple children, we had the opportunity also to issue multiple Chromebooks to those families. And we will continue to support the needs of our families until such time that we then receive additional Chromebooks in October, so that we will then be able to provide every student with a one-to-one device. So Susan Vogler's question is, will training be offered to parents to help them help their students? Most certainly. We're always looking, as I mentioned, to partner with our parents. Partnering with our parents is going to be essential in making sure that we are addressing the needs collaboratively of our children. Fort Dabney asks, can there be a set timing for students to meet outside with masks on to allow them to interact with their peers, like after school events, maybe using the playground facilities? Yeah, those are things that we're looking into. We were successful this past summer in having a program for some of our elementary students, particularly students at Morris Elementary School, because it's a receivership school. We were very successful with implementing a program for students to interact using social distancing, eating 6 feet apart, et cetera, outdoors. And that program took place over at Bartlett Park under the leadership of Miss Cherry, as well as the leadership of a few of our classroom teachers over at the middle school. So Carolyn's question, are special needs children also under the same course of distance learning? Yes, so special needs children, if we are moving into a distance learning environment, we will, as I stated before, be providing supports for our special needs students and making sure that they have everything that they need in order to progress. And then I have a question, if we don't get Chromebooks until October, how will we start September 10th? So as I mentioned, Ms. Barbie, you know, we have 1,725 plus Chromebooks in the district. When we did a survey last year, we had less than that many families who needed a device. Many of our families have been using their own personal devices, in which we do want to make sure that regardless of whether or not a family has a personal device, that every one of our students has a device assigned to them so that they can then have a device that they will then be able to call their own. And of course it's borrowed, but call their own, and being able to engage in the instructional delivery that their teachers are providing. So Mark Kittle indicates districts around the area are doing remote learning, but the teachers are being asked to go into the school to teach online for their classrooms. Is this what Poughkeepsie is going to do? As I mentioned, we're still having conversations around that. What we are, most important that we want to do is to make sure that we're providing students with quality instruction, no matter what the instructional delivery model. We're having conversations in our subcommittees around what we're going to do as it relates to our teachers going to come into the classroom to provide the instruction, or teachers going to have the flexibility of being able to work from their homes. That will be information that will come out in the next several weeks before school starts, so that all of our school community has an understanding of what we're doing as a school district. So Doree Brown says, my 3 kids have to share one Chromebook. Will each kid be provided with one this October? Yep, that is the plan. We're very fortunate to be one of few districts in the area to have as much money that is being provided to us at this juncture to be able to purchase Chromebooks for all of our students. And we are happy to say that with the grant that was written by district leadership, as well as a number of community members and talented teachers, that we were able to receive approval for that grant to be able to access $1.6 million to be able to purchase devices for every student in the district, as well as our teachers. We want to make sure that we're providing our teachers with technology so that they can then begin to strengthen their ability to embed technology within the instructional program. Are there additional questions?
No.
Okay. So as I mentioned, parents, staff members, if you have yet to complete the survey, please complete the survey. The survey is going to be extremely helpful in helping to inform our decisions. As I mentioned, approximately 58, 59% of our parents have already indicated that they would like to have a distance learning environment. In the event that the landscape changes based upon the data, the science, what is currently happening here in the Dutchess County region, we will be opening up in a distance learning environment. The official announcement, of course, will be made next week between August 18th and the 21st. So for Dabney's question is, what is being proposed for special needs students and 504 students? As I mentioned, special needs students and 504 students, we will be abiding by their IEPs and the 504 accommodations associated with each individual student. We are working as a school district through the task force and the various committee members to develop innovative ways to address the needs of our students with exceptionalities. And that would be students in homeless situations as well. So if there aren't any additional questions, I want to thank the entire Poughkeepsie City School District community, which would be our parents, community members who are just interested in learning about what's happening in the Poughkeepsie City School District, because you have a vested interest in the future of our great city and our country. I want to thank our teachers, our staff members, for your tireless support of Poughkeepsie City School District students. Our teachers this past spring, as well as the administrators who are over each of our buildings and the ones in central office, really worked hard during the summertime to transition during a time of great chaos. And while we were not perfect in everything that we did, we have a lot of accomplishments that we can be proud of as a school community in meeting the needs of our children. I see that there's one last question from Ms. Barbie. When will we start getting calls to pick up Chromebooks? That is being planned right now. We want to make sure that as we are developing our plan, that we're also in concert, making sure that we are identifying those families. And as I mentioned, there is a survey out there for our families. So if you have not completed the survey and you need a Chromebook, please complete the survey, because the only way that we're going to give a call is if you indicate on the survey that you do not have a device at home, that you do not have a device that a child can use, and that you will need a district loan Chromebook in order to be able to address your students' need to be able to log in online, if that's the direction we go into. And there's a message down here that says one more. So this is probably Becky typing. Is that correct, Becky?
Yes, that was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one. Okay.
Yes. So
I do want to thank everyone for their participation. I do have another fireside chat, not fireside chat. I do have another town hall meeting this upcoming Monday with our Spanish speaking population. Please, if you know of anyone whose parent only speaks Spanish, please let them know that that would be the perfect opportunity for them to be able to understand the presentation that I shared with everyone today, because it's been translated into Spanish. We will have someone reading it in Spanish. I will be available to then answer any questions that parents may have as it relates to the opening of school. I also want to say to everyone, while this has been very frustrating, it's been very trying for all of us as adults, we have an obligation as adults that children look up to continue to work together, because by us working together with our children, we'll have better outcomes. And that's all that we want for our children. I have not met a parent who has not wanted the best for their children. I have not met an educator who didn't get into the profession because they wanted to be the difference or make the difference in the lives of our children. So by us working together, we are bound to make sure that our children in the Poughkeepsie City School District have everything that they need and everything that they could want in order to be successful today as well as in the future. Everyone take care, be safe out there, and expect to hear from me next week. We will be sending out a robocall as well as a letter that will be posted to our website indicating what the official word is for the opening of school. And if I can just reiterate, if we did not have the requirement of having the additional town hall meetings, that if I had to make the official word today, that the official word would be that we would be opening up in a distance learning environment. And that's based upon the data of 58% of our families indicating that that's what they want. That would be based upon the data that it is important that our children and our staff members remain safe while we are providing the instruction. And in the event that the data from our parents change or the science changes around what we understand about COVID-19, and we can guarantee that our children, their families, and our staff members will be safe to return, we will change our model to a hybrid model. But right now, because that information is not present through the data that we currently have, we are positioning ourselves as a school district to open up in a distance learning environment for this upcoming school year. Everyone have a good night and expect to hear from me next week. And also have a great weekend.